did surface, but the Cameroonian and Chad governments have said that that did not happen. The governments of Chad and Cameroon have denied that. Even though borders are obviously porous, they have denied the fact that those girls have been smuggled into their countries and sold as wives. So it is a speculation, but there's nothing to actually cast that in stone, since the governments in particular have denied it.
Now, you made reference to the economic conference that is taking place there. How is the security around this conference, and are people in Nigeria actually even paying attention to this conference?
Well, basically, following the Yaya blast and this abduction, the government wasn't willing to take anything for granted. So it did declare from today up until Friday a public holiday in Abuja. There's supposed to be no movement whatsoever. All institutions are supposed to close down. There's full security, the security on ground, the security in the air. They're not taking anything for granted right now, because we've got people coming in from all around the world, and there could be targets. So the government is on its toes, and so far everything has gone beautifully, and we hope that it will stay that way, because the government is really putting a lot into this to make sure that everyone stays safe.
Well, Cynthia, we do appreciate very much your insight. Thank you. Well, our thanks to Cynthia Ari of Channels TV for joining us today on Africa 54. Now, be sure to join us every Wednesday for our weekly discussion with Cynthia on topics affecting Nigeria and the continent. We want to know now what you think about Africa 54 and the stories we covered during the conversation on Facebook. The address is Africa 54, and check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. Coming up, the U.S. imposes the first sanctions in the South Sudan conflict. Stay with us.
I think that Straight Talk Africa is important to the viewers precisely because they see it like a mirror. They see themselves in the discussions that are carried out on Straight Talk Africa.
Tune in to Straight Talk Africa each week on TV, radio, and internet. Join in the discussion of the issues affecting you.
Welcome back. The United States has announced its first sanctions against South Sudan, where clashes between pro- and anti-government forces have left thousands dead since mid-December. With more on this, we are joined by Africa 54's Laura Bowman. Laura?
Thank you, Vincent. Secretary of State John Kerry says the U.S. will impose financial penalties on Mariel Chan Wong, a government military commander, as well as Peter Gadet, a military leader loyal to former Vice President Riek Machar. These two men stand on opposing sides of the conflict. The sanctions will freeze any assets they have in the U.S. and bar U.S. citizens and companies from doing business with them. Appearing with EU Foreign Policy Chief Catherine Ashton, Kerry said both men perpetrated unthinkable acts of violence.
And we will do our utmost to prevent South Sudan from plunging back into the violence and despair that tore that country apart for so long.
Tuesday, after meeting with UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon in Juba, South Sudan's President Salva Kiir said he's ready to meet with rebel leader Machar.
And we are going to talk about how to stop fighting so that people go back home.
Secretary General Ban Ki-moon says anti-government leader Machar has agreed to peace talks with President Kiir. That's if he can make it to Addis Ababa, where the talks are scheduled for Friday. Machar has been in hiding for months.
Well, thank you very much. It's time now for a short break. Still to come on Africa 54, their third day in court. We'll be right back.
You've just joined us, and here is a quick recap of today's headlines. In South Africa, millions head to the polls in the first
President Bill Clinton, has written in Vanity Fair for the first time about their relationship. Monica, who's now 40, writes about coming to terms with her past, the difficulty of job hunting, and explaining why she's speaking up now. The full story will be available May 8th in the magazine's web edition. Well, next, a new Japanese trend for lonely diners. The Moomin House Cafe in Tokyo offers solo customers the company of stuffed animals while they eat. Popular in the 90s, the happy hippo-like creature was a character in a series of Finnish children's cartoons. The cafe has gathered a popular internet following, with many visitors uploading pictures of their dining experience on social media. Next, the daredevils who jumped from New York's World Trade Center have their day in court now. One of the jumpers was a construction worker who had access to the site. The jumpers are now charged with burglary, reckless endangerment, and unauthorized jumping from a structure. Their defense attorneys say the three accused jumpers and an alleged accomplice on the ground are experienced base jumpers who took care to keep from endangering anyone. The original base jump video has garnered over 3 million views on YouTube and counting. And that's our show for today. Be sure to watch Africa 54 on our website at voaafrica.com. For more news, tune in to VOA's evening radio show, Africa News Tonight, at 1800 UTC. And in the mornings today, Break Africa between 0300 and 0600 UTC, Monday through Friday. Thanks a lot for watching. From all of us in Washington, have a good night.